We've been doing a really fun test between TaylorMade's new M3 driver up against Callaway's original Big Bertha. The M3 came out this year, 2018, while the original Callaway Big Bertha came out in 1991. We headed to the range with TaylorMade's new TP5 balls and our Skytrak launch monitor to see how these two performed against each other. So the original Callaway Big Bertha driver, this was a big breakthrough when it came out in 1991, a huge product. It was 190cc, which sounds ridiculously small, but back then this was considered a massively oversized driver. Looking at it now, it kind of looks like a fairway wood, but back then people were like, wow, this thing is huge. We picked it up for around £10 on eBay. It came with a True Temper Memphis 10 steel shaft. On the other hand, TaylorMade's new M3 driver for 2018, it's packed with loads of new tech. It has twist face, which I'm sure you've heard quite a lot about. It has that twisted face for added forgiveness. It also has hammerhead technology in there, which is designed to increase ball speeds, and you also have the wide track system on the bottom of the club. We had it with a 60-gram graphite shaft. It's the Tensei white option, which is a low spinning version. We had them both set into the same loft at 10 degrees, and we hit 5 shots with each and went back and forth probably around 10 times. Settings on the M3 driver, we had them set to completely neutral, so there's no draw fade bias and there's no high launch or low launch in terms of back to front weight adjustability. So how do they perform? Let's first look at distances, and we're only going to look at carry distances on this one. With the original Big Bertha, we were carrying on average 228 yards, while with the M3 we were carrying it 269 yards, which is obviously a massive jump in distance. Ball speeds, with the original Big Bertha we were getting ball speeds of 132 miles an hour, while with the M3 we were getting 140, again a pretty big jump. Spin, with the original Big Bertha we were getting on average 3,610, while with the M3 we were getting 2,054, which is pretty impressive. Launch conditions, the M3 launched slightly higher, 13.5 degrees, while we were getting 11 degrees from the original Big Bertha. So across the board there, as you would expect, the M3 is completely blowing the original Big Bertha out the water. However, it's not just about the actual data in terms of distances and spin. Well, the other factors that come into it, feel and sound, of course, are very important. What was really interesting is that the M3 and the Big Bertha had very, very different feels, but in their own right, we felt that they were actually quite nice. The M3 with the graphite shaft, it feels a little bit hollower, a little bit more light in the hand, a little bit more fiery off the face, and that's really nice. While the original Big Bertha, the steel shaft, the small head, it feels a lot more compact. It has a lower thuddy kind of sound, but still quite explosive. And as I say, in their own right, they both actually felt quite cool. We thought the original Big Bertha would probably, feel pretty nasty up against the new technology of today. But we were actually really impressed after hitting a few shots that we actually quite enjoyed hitting it. So the launch characteristics of these two drivers was also really interesting. The original Big Bertha had a flatter initial launch and then it slightly ballooned at the end of it, while the M3 launched higher, stayed pretty high, and was just kind of going high and forward, which would have contributed to that extra yardage that we got from it. The looks of these two clubs, we've already mentioned obviously about how small the Big Bertha looked while looking down on the club. The M3 is packed with tech, the carbon crown, the two-tone on top of the club, the wide track on the underside. It looks very modern because it is, while the original Big Bertha is obviously a little bit old school. It looks kind of funky looking down on a steel shaft on a driver, but having said that, it didn't take us that long to get used to that kind of feel of the driver head on a steel shaft. Interestingly enough, we actually missed more shots in terms of mishits with the M3. So looking at missing the sensor of the face than we did with the Big Bertha, and there's probably something to do with psyche in that. And looking down on the small head, We were really zoned in, and we thought, right, we have to hit the middle of this club, otherwise we're going to be dead. While I was with the M3, we knew there was a load of forgiveness packed in there, so if we missed the centre, we weren't going to get punished as much. Having said that, when we missed the centre on the Big Bertha, we were dead. Like, you're just spinning everywhere, but you're also just dying in terms of distance. While when we missed with the M3, with that twist face and all the other kind of the trampoline effect off the face, the other technologies that play into overall forgiveness in that club, we were getting a lot more distance on our miss hits. So we hope you enjoyed that head-to-head battle between the M3 and the original Big Bertha. It's a really interesting comparison, we think, because this is obviously a club from today against a club from 1991. And you do see there that the M3 is pretty much killing it in every single category, as you would expect. But sometimes you wonder how much difference do these modern clubs actually make. And as you can see, it is a pretty drastic improvement. You can still play great golf with that club from 1991 for sure, but it's going to be a lot harder than if you were playing with that M3. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like and comment below, and head to our social media feeds on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for watching.